We play and call it work.
Hello, Wargamers. Another sit and talk for everybody this week. So this week is me, and of course, if you have any responses to any of the videos any of the things I've said today, leave it down below. Of course, next week will be Matthew, and so if you have questions for him, leave them at Matthew for next sit and talk and vault. And so let's just dive right in here. This is from Chozon1. Kris, how do you feel about the way Dark Heresy RPG ended, and about having the most lethal character in the end? I don't know about the most lethal in the end. I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't know about the end. Is there another type of class you would prefer to try, or did you think this, or did you like the sniper tank? For glory and nap time, Chozon1. I don't know. I think I'd probably go with probably something maybe a little bit more diplomatic, but I did kind of like the combat oriented. And when I used to play D&D, I used to always play like the warrior class, like I'd play like a dwarf, or something kind of fun like that. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Just warrior class, I think. I don't know if I'd want to go with any kind of wizards or anything like that. I don't know if that'd be any fun. Healers. I don't know if I want to go healer. But as far as like in Dark Heresy, I mean, there's so many interesting kind of characters you could be. But I mean, Warhammer 40,000 is very, very war oriented, and so you don't really imagine a whole lot of diplomacy in 40K. Unlike getting into D&D where you just kind of talk to town folk, and you go around, you hear about your adventures in a pretty normal kind of fashion. And whereas Warhammer 40,000, especially the way our characters were, agents of the Imperium. It's kind of, well, we're agents of the Imperium, and so heed our word, and it's kind of like that. And I don't know. I mean, like, really, because I guess there's really not a lot of background written about the everyday kind of people in the 41st millennium. Everything's always about Space Marines or aliens or anything like that, and nothing about the workaday Joe kind of stuff, right? I mean, at least not a lot of the books I've read. I don't know. Unless some of you guys know some books out there that are just about ordinary people. I mean, like one book, okay, it's not entirely about the everyday people, but Necropolis in the Gaunt's Ghost series, there's a lot about the people who are from the Necropolis and from the Hive City, and what their struggles are during this whole conflict. And I thought that's kind of interesting, but it doesn't really give you that's just them in conflict, and it's not like it's going about their day-to-day life and covering a mystery, and going on some sort of adventure like that. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say, I suppose. It's not like D&D, 41st millennium stuff. It's really kind of more about the combat and uncovering, looking for artifacts and discovering new worlds and things like that, of that nature. It's not like D&D. But D&D, I always played the warriors, so a long roundabout way of answering your question. But anyway, yeah. Something angry. Kris, I appreciate what you do with MiniWarGaming and enjoy both Janine and your videos. I've learned a lot, and I appreciate that you don't try to dictate what the best paint brands are and etc. You use a wide variety and see them as tools, which each brand has their own unique benefits. This is something that I see other online painters steer away from, and it makes it frustrating because it tends to box you into their way of thinking. Interesting, thank you. My question for you this week is there an actual acrylic paint that has the same color as Seraphim Sepia? I'm not talking about a wash, but an actual paint that matches the color of GW wash. Which brand can I find said color? The reason I ask is that I'm looking at doing a custom solar watch army, and I'm looking for something that I could base coat with. then build it up to a white as opposed to achieving it with washes. Note, this might make for a good how-to video. Yeah, I don't know if I build, like, if you're going to build it to a white from a sepia, you're going to be adding a lot of layers. You're better off building with a mid-tone, say, you know, the imagined mid-tone between a sepia and white, laying that as your base tone, shading with the sepia and highlighting with white, you know, or even starting off with white and then just shading it down with sepia a bit. Just because it's just like building white on top of black. It just doesn't work. You end up with too many layers and you're just going to frustrate yourself because it's not going to sit right. It's going to look rather dirty, and, you know. But as far as Seraphim Sepia, a color that's that similar shade, you can go to like artist companies like, say, like, oh, geez Louise, Liquitex, okay? These guys have like inks, and their sepia ink is, I mean, sepia is its own term, is its own color. And so you can pretty much go to any kind of artist grade paints and find a sepia. And yeah, some of them are sepias. I'm trying to think here. Some of them kind of go by, you know, you can end up with like a burnt sienna. But I mean, this is very opaque and it's very kind of a like brown quality. Jeez Louise, I'm hitting all sorts of stuff. Versus Seraphim Sepia, I mean, like when you spread that out over white, it has this very rich golden brown kind of color. And yeah, so I mean, I guess what I'm thinking about is like when you use it as a shade wash, and it can get very dark in the creases, but you can get those nice subtle sepia tones. And I don't know if you want to go, like, I'm not sure what level of sepia you're thinking of, like if it's a really dark sepia or if it's a really light sepia. But either way, I mean, you can simply just take, like, if you can get your hands on some Liquitex inks. I'm sure there's paints out there that are sepia as well, and inks are just fine. And you know, you can make your own shade washes with these colors, and of course you can use them just as the colors themselves. If you've been watching some of the latest quick tips and stuff like that I've been using like these inks as a final layer to marry transitions together, just like a glaze essentially. And you know, you can do it that way as well. But yeah, you just go and find sepia. It's most art stores, you'll find the color. Just ask for like sepias, and they come in oil paints, acrylics, watercolor, you know, inks. Of course, those are drawing inks, and they're really rich in pigment, and they're also very thin-bodied, so they actually are akin more to like glazing and stuff like that. But you know, nothing says you can't use it on your miniatures, you know. So feel free to experiment. High Fleet Cerberus, Kris, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Night Haunt models? Which one is your favorite? I like that kind of carriage-looking thing. I don't know. I mean, like a whole army based around kind of like how the ghosts look from Nagash and everything like that, and the kind of spectral energy all flowing around and everything like that is very, very cool. I like them, and it is what I would expect from Games Workshop to do a ghostly night army. And I'm sure there's going to be some more fun stuff coming out for that army in the future, because the sky's the limit as far as, you know, making this spectral ghost army. And yeah, a lot of the models are really cool. I like them. I mean, you know, we've seen a few examples. There was that one Wraith with the scythe, you know, he has that similar kind of vibe. The ghosts on Nagash, you know. I'm trying to think what else has had that kind of vibe on it. But, you know, I mean, we've seen the design aesthetic before. And these models all look very consistent to that design aesthetic, and I'm sure that's probably something that's been on their back burner. Like, you know, ooh, I like how we did these ghosts like this, and you know, nobody's designing them like this. Let's make a whole army. Can we make an army that looks like that? And you know, they did, and it looks very cool. Age of Sigmar stuff has just been fantastic last year or so, and yeah, I mean, like it's amazing what kind of models are producing. I mean, the Iden at the Deepkin, I mean, that there is almost is probably going to get me into Age of Sigmar with those guys. I'm just kind of waiting for like the get started box, but otherwise, like the big flying turtles and stuff like that, like it's just awesome stuff. I still wish they would do a Bretonnian type force, I mean, something with Pegasuses and stuff like that, and knights, and, you know, Bretonnians are what got me into fantasy. And, you know, I've just been kind of, you know, blah about fantasy, you know, since all the edition changes, and, you know, and of course now 40K, I mean, like, I've been, you know, building up a large Eldar force for 40K, and, you know, but yeah, Age of Sigmar, yeah, I mean, the model's been really, really fantastic. And the Night, what are they called? Night Haunt? Night Haunt, yeah, Night Haunt. Yeah, they're consistent with what they've been producing, the kind of spectral, ghostly kind of quality that they've had. And I think it looks fantastic. I think it looks really great. And yeah, I'm looking forward to more. I mean, everything, like even like the new Sisters of Battle that are supposedly going to be coming out soon enough. Well, not supposedly, but, you know, they're going to be coming out. And I mean, like, you know, for the Seraphim, I can totally see them like on, you know, just like they did for Celestine, right? They'll be on scroll work, and they'll be floating, and, you know, shooting, and, you know, all sorts of dynamic poses. And yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good stuff, I think. Zeolite. Hey Kris, what do you find most difficult about painting? Is there ever been a project you have rage quit on due to difficulty? I don't know about rage quitting, but I've lost interest in some projects, and I just never kind of went back, or, you know, I was kind of frustrated where I was, what path I was on. And usually whatever frustrates me, I guess really to answer the first part of the question, what do I find most difficult about painting, is inspiration. What colors I want to do something, what kind of patterns I want to do. Do I want to do a texture? Do I want to just go straight colors? Do I want to create blood and transitions? Do I want to glaze them? You know, do I want to use these kind of particular colors, these kind of particular colors, you know? And that's really where I can spend a lot of time just not even touching the model, and just, you know, just brainstorming that stuff, and just kind of dreaming up that. And yeah, as far as difficulty, sure, it all depends. I mean, like, if I'm not into the model and I'm just kind of thinking of something, you know, like I recently was doing this guy here, Lotan from the Ideneth Deepkin, and I wanted to do something, you know, something different for him. And so, you know, it took a bit to think about what exactly I wanted to do. It's not like, you know, the idea was like right there in front of me, you know. I know exactly what I'm gonna paint and how I'm gonna paint it, and, you know what I mean? Like, I do spend some time kind of brainstorming the ideas and what I'm going to do for a model, and, you know, how I'm going to go about it, and what colors I'm going to use, what kind of techniques I want to show. That's also the other part, because a lot of times in the videos, you know, like, I prefer to show different techniques and things like that, and try and keep it interesting, try and keep it fresh for, you know, for the viewers and such. And so, you know, yeah, it's really, but as far as like painting is concerned, I really don't feel anything is difficult. I've been painting for a long time, not just miniatures, but canvas as well. And, you know, it's just all painting, you know. I mean, it's just, you just get better at it as you keep, you know, as you keep at it. And so as you progress through this hobby yourself, you'll get better, and then you'll be like, you know, oh yeah, I used to be scared of wet blending, but then now it's easy, and I'm done, you know what I mean? Like, it's as simple as that. It's just practice. It's just muscle memory, and it's just got to keep going. Got to keep at it. Just got to keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Hersim, hi Kris. What is your opinion on, or what is your opinion about scale 75 paints? Have you ever tried them? I've recently bought a few basic sets and fell in love immediately. I'm not sure about alchemy range. They do not seem to be very useful. Cheers. Okay, well, that last part of your question there, the alchemy range, the alchemy metals, the metallics, are awesome. I've got the metals, copper, and golds. They also come with other colors in those sets, so they're really fantastic. I've used like the red sets to highlight some of my Eldar models and stuff like that. Really, really fantastic colors. The regular opaque stuff, really fantastic colors as well. I like the flow. You know, the coverage is really good. The metallics, like, I've used like a dark metallic on top of a light primer, and one coat goes right on, and it covers right over it. And, you know, I often apply 2 coats, or 3, depending upon, you know, how thin I've worked with the color. But otherwise, I've nothing but love for Scale 75 colors. I think they're fantastic. My only gripe about Scale 75 colors is that there's no other auxiliary mediums and products for their colors. There's no thinning medium, no glazing, you know, no varnishes, and you know what I mean, like just other auxiliary products, like say a company like Vallejo has, where they have a lot of other mediums that go along with no retardants, you know what I mean, like nothing like in those lines, no, the auxiliary type stuff, right? And so that's my only gripe about Scale 75. But otherwise, all their colors are fantastic. I love the vibrancy in them. I love how they dry. I love how they cover. They're so smooth. They're just fantastic colors. I can't say enough about them. Now, to go back to what another question was about, me, you know, talking about other paint lines and, you know, kind of, I mean, if I could push Scale 75 colors, I probably would. But I mean, for the most part, we're all GW centric. I mean, I love Vallejo colors as well. I mean, you know, Army Painters, another fantastic one. You know, even Privateer Presses, P3 line's pretty darn good, because it's just like Coat d'Arms, which is just like old school GW colors, which, you know, if you're used to working with like that kind of thin, kind of greasy kind of paint line, there's just so many different kind of colors. Every company has their own positives and negatives, and you know, you get some artists who stick to a particular kind of line. Myself personally, I'm often experimenting with different things, just because you guys are often asking me about particular products, and so I like to be able to talk intelligently about said product. And so that's often why I'm experimenting into different things as well, because a lot of times people ask me, well, what's my opinion on this? What's my opinion on this? And what do you think of these colors? And you know what I mean? Like, do these colors mix and match? The Citadel and Scale 75 colors match, you know what I mean? Color match and mix, and you know, so I like to be able to speak intelligently on those things. And so that's why often I'm experimenting in those things. And yeah, but otherwise, I really enjoy Scale 75. If you can get yourself some colors and get the metallics. The metallics are my favorite. A close second for the metallics would be probably Vallejo's Model Air metallics, or MIG Ammo. MIG Ammo's metallics. They got a nice metallic range, and they got a really bright gold. I've used a ton of it. Yeah, this bottle's like almost empty. No, it's not the gold. Where's my gold? Anyway, I've got a gold in there. And I've used it, and like I've done a whole bunch of models, and it just comes with this really, really golden yellow. I can't describe what kind, because no other paint range. I mean, it's kind of like if like Scale 75 with these metallics, like Citrate Alchemy is a really great one, but I mean, it's got like a white yellow to it, and it's not this gold, like bright gold, almost like brass almost. And that's what the MIG Ammo, their gold looks like. It looks like, you know, like this bright gold, metallic, you know. So yeah, but Scale 75, I think they're fantastic colors. I really enjoy them. Go ahead and get yourself a set. Get the metallic sets for them. They're worth their price, and using those are fantastic. Like, even just start off with the metal set, where you get like a dark metallic. It's like dark. Like if you're used to like lead belcher, it's darker than lead belcher. And of course, the copper set is really good because it's got a lot of other warmer tones to it. And the gold set, fantastic. It's got different. There's one that I just love from the gold set. Do I have it here? No, it's called Necro Gold, I think, and it's this dark greeny kind of oxidized kind of gold. It almost looks like kind of really oxidized kind of brass. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that kind of color. I had shown it on when I did the Incarn way back when I did it for the Eldar for the Triumvirate, and I did the Incarn, and it's Necro Gold, and it's a really fantastic color. But I'm a big fan of Scale 75, and I think once you really start using them more, especially the metallics, you're going to love the paint line even more. Mac Hawk, Kris, what is your favorite paint? Scale 75, I guess. You know, the one pot bottle, you always come back. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. What is my favorite paint? You know, the one with the pot or bottle, you always come back to, use in every project, and just can't live without. You know what, honestly? It probably would be a color like Screaming Skull. I often come back to Screaming Skull for highlights. I often will mix this into whatever color I'm using and use this as a highlight. I really, really like it. It's this really, you know, khaki kind of light kind of bone color. Another color supposedly like that would be, yeah, mauve white, you know, scale 75. It's probably very close to that as well. So, yeah, I like using the off-whites to highlight. I don't like using white all the time to highlight. I often like using off-white, even using it like with blues and stuff like that, because it's got the hints of browns in it, which has the hints of orange. And so when you mix them, they actually, you know, give you a very different subtle tone when you're bringing the colors upwards. I like using Screaming Skull to highlight Abaddon Black. Mix it with that, and you get this much warmer black tone. I know it's hard to imagine a warm black, but that's what you get. And so, you know, it just comes from just kind of playing with your colors and, you know, experimenting and, you know, yeah. But yeah, actually, I mean, my favorite color would be the same tone as Mephiston Red. That's my favorite color right there. It's this deep red tone. That's my favorite color. Like, if you know, if I was buying clothes or, you know, looking for something, yeah, Mephiston Red, that deep red tone. Now, I don't call it Mephiston Red when I'm looking, you know, for it. I mean, it's more like crimson or vermilion, one of the two, usually depending on what mood I'm in, really. But otherwise, for painting, yeah, the color I keep coming back to, and you'll see it in a lot of videos, and you'll continue to see in videos, is Screaming Skull. I use this color a lot. William Cott, Monkey Brush King. What is the most outrageous technical technique that you have never shown? What was the most outrageous technical technique that you have never shown in Quick Tips? I don't know. I like, really, there's not a lot of different brush techniques. I mean, painting has been painting for, like, you know, 500 years. And so to answer the second part of your question, what is the coffee that I drink and weigh the brush? That is just regular old coffee. Sometimes it's Folgers, sometimes it's I can't remember what the name, Maxwell House? Yeah, I think it's Maxwell House. And those are the usual coffees I drink. You know, just store brands. I'm in Canada, so I usually don't drink a lot of Tim Hortons coffee. That's a long subject as far as why I don't drink Tim Hortons coffee, but yeah, I usually don't buy coffee. And I used to go through like a pot a day, which, you know, is quite a bit. Now I'm down to, like, you know, about a cup and a half in the morning, and that's about it. Maybe sometimes I'll get one in the afternoon, but otherwise I usually don't consume that much coffee anymore. Just, you know, I was just getting too jittery, and especially when I'm trying to paint and I'm jittery, it's no fun, you know. So it doesn't really help with productivity in that regards. But yeah, so Bill Drat, Kris, do you have any experience with trying to change the color of transparent plastic pieces, such as the green parts that are used for Necron weaponry? Could a very thin paint or ink cause the color change without rendering the part completely opaque? If not, can you think of any other way to accomplish this? Well, with the clear acrylic, there are other little third-party manufacturers out there who produce colored rods, and they make them specifically for the Necron warriors to fit all the various model kits, you know, and stuff like that, and they make them various colors. You can go that route. That's probably the easiest route. Of course, if you want to go for something different with the color piece, so say for example you get the default green part, you can't change that to red. There's just, you'd have to change the nature of the plastic so that it became like, it just you'd have to change physics kind of thing, and so you can't, it's not possible. But for example, though, you could change a bit of the tone of green. So you can make it maybe a darker green, or like a bluer green, or a yellower green. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of shift it that way. But you couldn't change it to an all different color. You couldn't make it purple or red or anything like that. And so, yes, but you could make it a little bit more yellow. You could make it a little bit more blue. And you can play with it in that regards. There are clear colors available. Tamiya makes a good clear color. Forge World makes clear color. Who's the other clear color? Oh, Minotaur has clear colors, and they can sit right on top of that. And I would probably recommend Tamiya being the best. Oftentimes I use those colors for doing like the canopies, for like changing the colors in the canopies, so they stay clear but project color, you know what I mean? So I've used them for like my Eldar fire prisms, where I had blue on my crystals and green on the canopies. What else have I used them for? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just canopies, really. All my wave serpents, they all have green canopies with red hulls, So, and often I use Tamiya for that because it's just really easy to use. You just cut it with a bit of thinner and apply just 2 little layers, and you're done, And it's a nice solid color on there. And of course, when you paint the interior, you have it. But otherwise, changing those Necron rods, if it's green you're talking about, you can change the color shift a little bit from that, making it go red. You have to change the laws of physics. You have to but there are companies out there. Just do a search on colored Necron parts or something like that, or I can't remember. I've seen them on other sites and like Fleabay and stuff like that. So Etsy, I think, is another one I've seen them on. And yeah, you can just go look for them like that, and that's probably your best bet. And again, when you get like a red one, you can probably color shift, change it, from a deeper red to a brighter red, oranger red, You get orange, you can probably push it more towards red, you push it more towards yellow, you know what I mean? So like, you can only color change the variants a little bit. Changing it, swapping it over to another color, no, it's not gonna happen. So hopefully, Bill Drat, that answers your question, and hopefully that helps. Bloodthirsty GM, hi Chris. Your Shadows Beneath crew fails miserably, and the new Deathwatch RPG campaign is starting to clean up your mess. What character do you play? What character do I play? I mean, a Space Marine, really. I mean, if I was a Space Marine, I always imagined myself as a Stern Guard, right? A veteran, an aged veteran who's seen many battles, but, is as hard as nails and has access to all the fun weaponry. Stern Guard are my favorite Space Marines. They're just the coolest. Are there Stern Guard Primaris Marines yet? If not, there should be. P.S. Shout out to Player 075 for asking my question last week when I forgot. Okay, so Player 075, thanks for asking that question. And I think that is it. Yes, that was all my questions. So thank you for watching. For next week's Sit and Talk, it will be Matthew. So again, any questions for him, leave at Matthew down below. And of course, if it's in response to anything I said today, have it at Chris, and I will see you guys later. Happy wargaming. See ya later. Thanks. Bye. Ciao. Adios. As Vita said. I don't even know if I said that right.